a major gathering for African future leaders is returning this October. The event is called the ACT Foundation's 2025 Breakfast Dialogue Conference. In its ninth year, the meeting aims to equip young change makers with practical tools. Now, organizers say the goal is to help them scale their impact across the continent. Theme for this year is Innovate, Advocate, Lead, the Future of Africa. Speeches and masterclasses will focus on innovation and funding, as this event is expected to spark collaboration and find solutions for a sustainable Africa. In a key announcement, organizers said registration for the event is completely free. They are encouraging interested participants to secure their limited spots quickly. For more information about the ACT Foundation's 2025 Breakfast Dialogue Conference, CEO of Aspire Coronation Trust, Osayi Alile, joins us today. I want to say thank you very much for joining us here on Newsday.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I'm Abiodun,
good afternoon.
Not Osayi.
Okay,
Osayi, she's unable to make it.
Okay, so
she came down with a cold.
Thank you for that correction. Yes. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Good to have you.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's get it started. Of course, what is the vision behind the ACT Foundation's 2025 Breakfast Dialogue Conference theme? Innovate, Advocate, and Lead, the Future of Africa.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. You would agree with me that for us to have development that is sustainable in Africa, then we've got to have key drivers. And at Aspire Coronation Trust Foundation, the reason we're centering our conversation around Innovate, Advocate, and Lead is because we believe that Africa actually deserves to have bold innovations, audacious innovations, also advocacy. We should have voices behind these innovations, and eventually we should be able to lead with some vision, driven by impact. And so that's why we came up with that theme, Innovate, that is come up with the ideas, Advocate, raise voices that would actually speak in favor of these ideas, and of course lead, in ways that are empathetic, that are impact driven, and of course vision driven as well, so that we can actually push Africa, to that next level where it belongs.
Mm-hmm. And, we're also wondering, why do you think leadership matters right now, especially in shaping Africa's future? I think that it's a really interesting conversation to have, especially as everyone's also looking towards 2027 and who the future leaders will be. So can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, thank you very much. So leadership has always mattered, we can't even overemphasize that. But more than ever before, Africa is facing a time where we actually need people who go beyond holding titles, beyond being in power for the sake of being in power or for their pockets, to actually people who will drive innovation, who will drive change, and people who will put their people forward. All right, and that's where we talk about visionary leadership. Again, Africa needs to have those kind of leaders who will actually put their people forward. And now we're talking about leadership that is not just about politics now. We start from the basic unit of the society, from the family to the workplace to the educational institutions, and then we can even talk about in governance. How do we lead in such spaces? And we actually need to start getting it right and not being just about ourselves, but being impact driven and thinking about the people that we lead.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, so we want to find out from you, why is this conference important for Africa's next generation of leaders?
So Africa's next generation of leaders, who are they? Young people. Africa is basically a young population.
Yes, it is.
And yes, if we keep doing things the same way that we have been doing it, we'll keep getting the same result. We can't expect to keep doing that and expect a different result. So what we want to achieve at this conference, we're bringing in people, change makers who are not just talking about change, who are actually driving change. We're going to have a keynote speech from Fred Swaniker, for example. If you know him, you know that he's bought into transformation of Africa. We're going to be having, diverse people from diverse generation. We'll have a teenager who is actually driving change in her community. We'll also have panel session speakers who are doing stuff in health, in education, in the tech space. And they will come to talk about the changes that they have forwarding, the challenges they have faced, how they have built resilience in their spaces. And of course, there's also going to be a masterclass session. We know that our nonprofits in this space, which is actually where we play, a lot of nonprofit leaders are stuck in writing grants, waiting for funds to come in. But then we need to begin to think outside the box, beyond writing grants, writing proposals. How can they develop sustainable funding models that they can use, to keep their organizations afloat 5-10 years down the line?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, longevity is so important. And I think, as we know, this period in Lagos is always just packed with events, panels between now and essentially through to November and December. Mm-hmm. What would you say when people ask what's special about this one, or why should we come to this one as opposed to any other? What makes it stand out?
Okay, so again, I'll say first, you don't even have to use the bus. You don't even have to drive. It's a virtual conference, so all you need to do is register for it. It's free of charge. All you need to do is register. You visit our pages, social media pages, ACT Foundation _, or follow us on our social media. So this event is different because we're going to be having authentic conversations. We're not just going to be doing the talk. We're going to be having people who are actually driving change in their spheres of influence, like I had mentioned. And we'll also be having capacity building sessions. So it's not going to be a talk shop. We're also going to be having, capacity building session where some people will go away with fresh insights, and they'll also go away with tools that they can use, to run their organizations.
So who is this program targeting, and how can they register to be not in the room, because you said it's virtual?
Yes.
So how can they do that?
Okay, so the event targets, if you're a change maker for any reason, you're a social innovator, you're an entrepreneur, you're a young person, you're NYC, you're serving, thinking about how you can drive your country forward. Even policymakers, social entrepreneurs can attend. Attendance is free. It's on Zoom webinar, but then you need to register to be able to gain access into the room on tinyurl.com/AFBD2025. That's A as in apple, F as in fish, B for boy, and D for dog. tinyurl.com/AFBD2025.
Amazing. Thank you very, very much for joining us and telling us all about this event. I'm sure a lot of people will, tune in.
We look forward to seeing them.
Absolutely.